And it came to pass after this that Absalom made for himself a chariot and horses, and 50 men were running before him. Absalom would rise up, stand beside the path of the gate. And it was when any man that would have a suit due to come to the king for judgment, then Absalom called to him, and he said, "From what city are you?" And he said, "Of one of the tribes of Israel is your servant." Absalom said to him, "See, your words are good and right, but there is none of the king's judges to hear you." Absalom said, "Oh, who will appoint me judge in the land? And every man who has a quarrel or suit will come to me, then I will surely do him justice." And it would be, when a man came near to prostrate himself before him, that he put forth his hand and took hold of him and kissed him. Absalom did likewise to all the Israelites that came to the king for judgment, and Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel. And it came to pass at the end of 40 years, and Absalom said to the king, "Allow me to go, I beg you, and pay my vow which I have vowed to the Lord in Hebron. For your servant vowed a vow during my stay in Geshur and Aram, saying, if the Lord shall bring me back to Jerusalem, then I will serve the Lord." The king said to him, "Go in peace." And he arose and went to Hebron. Absalom sent spies throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, "As soon as you hear the sound of the shofar, and you shall say, Absalom is king in Hebron." And with Absalom went 200 men that were invited, and went in their innocence and did not know of anything. Absalom sent for Ahithophel the Gilonite, David's counselor, from his city from Gilo, and he offered the sacrifice, and the conspiracy was strong, and the people with Absalom were steadily increasing. The messenger came to David, saying, "The hearts of the people of Israel are after Absalom." David said to all his servants that were with him in Jerusalem, "Arise and let us flee, for there will be no escape for us from Absalom. Go quickly, lest he hurry and overtake us, and bring upon us evil, and smite the city with the edge of the sword." The king's servant said to the king, "Whatever my lord the king shall choose, behold, your servants are surely ready to do." The king went forth, and all his household were right behind him. The king led the 10 women who were concubines to keep the house. The king went forth, and all the people were right behind him, and they remained standing at the farthest house. And all his servants passed on beside him, and all the archers, and all the slingers, and all the Gittites, 600 men, that came after him from Gath, passed on before the king. The king said to Ittai the Gittite, "Why do you also go with us? Return and abide with the king. You are a foreigner, and if you want to wander, go to your own place. Only yesterday you came, and today I should move you about with us, seeing that I go wherever I can go. Return and take back your brothers with you, and do kindness and truth to them." And Ittai answered the king and said, "As the Lord lives, and as my lord the king lives, that in the place where my lord the king shall be, whether for life or for death, for there shall your servant be." David said to Ittai, "Go and pass over." And Ittai the Gittite passed over, and so did all his men, and all the little ones that were with him. And all the land wept with a loud voice, and all the people passed over, and the king passed over the brook Kidron, and all the people passed over toward the way of the wilderness. And lo, Zadok also came, and all the Levites with him, bearing the ark of the covenant of God. They set down the ark of God, and Abiathar went up, till all the people had finished passing out of the city. The king said to Zadok, "Carry back the ark of God to the city. If I find favor in the eyes of the Lord, then he will bring me back, and he will show me it and his habitation. But if so, he says, I do not want you. Behold, here I am. Let him do to me as seems good in his eyes." The king said to Zadok the priest, "Do you not see? Return to the city in peace, and Ahimaaz your son, and Jonathan the son of Abiathar your 2 sons shall be with you. See, I will tarry in the plain of the wilderness until there comes word from you to announce to me. Zadok and Abiathar returned the ark of the God to Jerusalem, and they abode there. David went up by the ascent of the Mount of Olives, weeping as he went up, and he had his head covered, and he went barefoot. And of all the people that were with him, every man covered his head, weeping as they went up. Someone told David, saying, Ahithophel is among your conspirators with Absalom. And David said, Make foolish, I beg you, the counsel of Ahithophel, O Lord. David was coming to the top where he would prostrate himself to God, and behold, towards him came Hushai the Achite with his shirt torn and earth upon his head. And David said to him, If you pass on with me, you will be a burden to me. But if you return to the city, and you say to Absalom, I, O king, will be your servant, just as I was previously your father's servant, and now I am your servant, then you will be able to frustrate for me the counsel of Ahithophel. And have ye not there with you Zadok and Abiathar the priests? And it shall therefore be that everything you hear from the king's house, you shall tell Zadok and Abiathar the priests. Behold, they have there with them their 2 sons, Ahimaaz to Zadok, Jonathan to Abiathar. And through them you shall send to me everything you hear. Hushai the Archite, the friend of David, came into the city. Absalom was coming to Jerusalem.